Imagine a 17th century priest. Like when you picture a man who has taken holy vows way back in the 1600s, your mind naturally goes to a very specific set of ideals.
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely natural assumption. You picture a life of quiet piety, vows of poverty, sermons on turning the other cheek.
Yeah, exactly. Finding spiritual peace and all that.
Right. The historical archetype is someone offering moral instruction, a guide to a heavenly afterlife. Someone who is just completely detached from the messy, manipulative squabbles of the earthly world.
But what if I told you that one of the most ruthless, calculated, and frankly cutthroat survival guides for corporate backstabbing and social climbing was actually written by a Spanish Jesuit priest?
It sounds like a joke, honestly.
Yeah, it really does. But welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a truly mind-bending piece of source material today. It's a 2012 Turkish edition of a legendary text called Akınya Yaşama Sanatı, which translates to the art of worldly wisdom.
Such a great title.
Right. And this was originally written in the 1600s by Baltasar Gracian. Our specific source today is translated by Sabri Khalis and published by Maya Kitab. And the contradiction baked into this book is just massive.
The dissonance is really what makes it so compelling. I mean, we are looking at a man bound by strict religious vows who observed human nature with the cold diagnostic eye of, a political assassin.
A political assassin.
It's true.
Yeah.
The philosophy is so potent, so deeply psychological, that the philosopher Schopenhauer is actually quoted on the cover of this Turkish edition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he called it a completely unique book that a person should carry with them and reference every single stage of life, which is high praise coming from Schopenhauer.
Definitely. So our mission today is to extract Gracian's most brilliant, timeless nuggets of strategy, social dynamics, and self-preservation. The goal here is to take this 400-year-old wisdom and apply it directly to your own modern life, your workplace, your relationships, and just finding your own internal peace.
It is surprisingly applicable to all of those things.
Okay, let's unpack this. How on earth does a Jesuit priest end up writing the ultimate playbook for worldly manipulation?
Well, to understand the book, we really have to deconstruct the man and the environment that forged him. We need to look at the precarious, high-stakes reality of 17th century Spain.
Right. Not exactly a relaxed time in history.
Not at all. This was an era and a court system where a single political misstep, just a careless word to the wrong nobleman, didn't just mean a bruised ego.
It meant you were done.
It could mean absolute ruin. So Gracian was born in 1601 in a region called Calatayud. And the original Arabic name for this area, Kalat Ayub, actually translates to Job's city.
Job's city. That feels almost too perfectly poetic for a man who would literally write about enduring the trials of life.
It really does. And geographically, Calatayud was a cultural bridge between European and Moorish influences, though it was firmly Spanish and Christian by Gracian's time. But growing up in a space defined by shifting borders and, mixed cultural legacies requires a certain inherent adaptability. You learned early on that absolute rigid thinking is dangerous.
And his personal circumstances forced that adaptability even further, didn't they? According to the source, he was orphaned quite young.
Yes, very young.
So he was raised by his uncle, who was a craftsman in Toledo. But because Gracian was technically the son of a nobleman, his career options were highly restricted by the social codes of the time.
Right, he couldn't just take up a trade.
Exactly, he couldn't just become a blacksmith or something. He really only had two respectable paths to maintain his social status. He could join the army, or he could join the church.
And he chose the church, entering a Jesuit order in 1619, which the Jesuit order was known for its intellectual rigor, which obviously suited his mind perfectly.
But writing a highly pragmatic book about worldly manipulation and psychological dominance wasn't exactly sanctioned behavior for a man of the cloth, right?
Oh, definitely not. He was acutely aware of this conflict. What's fascinating here is that he actually had to publish his first book, El Hierro, under a pen name Lorenzo Gracian.
Lorenzo. Just changing the first name.
Yeah, his brother's name, actually.
Think about the modern equivalent of that for a second. That is essentially a modern creator or a corporate whistleblower needing a burner account just to speak their mind without getting fired.
That's exactly what it was. And beyond the pen name, he couldn't really survive on his own. He relied heavily on a wealthy sponsor, a nobleman named Don Vincencio Juan de Lastenosa.
Lastenosa, right.
Yeah, and Lastenosa was this fascinated collector. He loved archaeology, ancient coins, statues, that sort of thing. He functioned as Gracian's shield. He provided the financial and social capital Gracian needed to write without being immediately crushed by the church hierarchy.
So Gracian's own life was an active demonstration of the exact political maneuvering he wrote about.
Precisely. He knew he couldn't rely on the assumed goodness of his religious brothers to protect him. He needed hard, real-world alliances.
Because at the end of the day, politics is politics, even in the church.
Exactly. And his intellect was undeniable. His sponsor knew it. In fact, one of Gracian's later works, a 3-volume novel called El Criticon, features a man stranded on an island who encounters an untamed native.
Right. That sounds incredibly familiar.
Right. Literary historians widely acknowledge that this narrative heavily foreshadowed and likely directly inspired Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe.
Wow. We are dealing with the foundational genius here. But let's dive into the actual survival mechanisms he outlines. Because keeping a low profile wasn't just his personal history, it's basically the bedrock of his entire philosophy.
It really is.
In a society where revealing too much could lead to your downfall, his very first rule of worldly wisdom is all about weaponizing information. It's the strategy of mystery.
Aphorism the third in the text establishes this aggressively. Gracian argues that you must keep people in suspense.
Keep them guessing.
Exactly. He claims that playing with open cards is both useless and tasteless, and that a little mystery inspires respect.
Okay, I have to push back on this on behalf of anyone listening right now who works in a modern corporate environment. Because modern culture screams at us to be authentic.
Right. Bring your whole self to work.
Yes. Every leadership seminar, every LinkedIn post tells you to be completely transparent, share your personal journey, be vulnerable. But Gracian is telling you to deliberately withhold who you are. Why?
Because in Gracian's view, complete transparency makes you entirely predictable. The psychological mechanism here is simple. When people know exactly what you are going to do, how you think, and what your absolute limits are, they no longer need to pay close attention to you.
You become boring, basically.
You become a known quantity, and known quantities are easily managed, bypassed, or even discarded. Mystery, on the other hand, forces people to constantly assess you. It keeps their attention locked on you because they aren't quite sure what your next move is.
So you maintain your leverage.
Exactly. You maintain your leverage.
And that concept of leverage ties directly into one of the most vivid and, frankly, brutal metaphors in the entire book. In Aphorism V, he warns the reader not to rely on people's gratitude.
Ah, yes. This one is harsh but true.
He says that hope has a good memory, but gratitude has a bad one. He argues it is vastly superior to create a feeling of dependence-like, to have people need you rather than thank you.
The moment a thirst is quenched, the traveler turns their back on the well.
Right.
Gracian uses this devastating image of a squeezed orange. Once all the juice has been extracted, the orange falls from the golden serving tray straight into the trash can.
Let's apply that to today, because I see this happen all the time with freelancers or new employees. You start a new job, you want to prove your worth, so you work 60-hour weeks, you fix all their broken systems, you just hand over all your best ideas in the first 30 days.
Trying to be a hero.
Yeah. You think you are generating this massive reservoir of gratitude, but what you've actually done is reset the baseline.
And once that structural work is done, you become the squeezed orange.
Yep.
The company doesn't need your brilliant innovation anymore. They just need someone to do basic maintenance, which they can hire someone much cheaper to do. By giving them everything up front, you destroyed their dependence on you.
It's a trap we set for ourselves.
It is. Gracian is warning us that gratitude is backward-looking. People forget what you did yesterday. Dependence is forward-looking. They have to keep you around because they need what you're going to do tomorrow.
Wow. And he takes this control of information even further in Aphorism XEI, talking about advanced secrecy. He suggests letting your silence be a sanctuary.
Passions and uncontrolled emotions are the doors to the soul. If you leave those doors wide open by constantly broadcasting your feelings, anyone can walk in, figure out what makes you tick, and take whatever they want.
So controlling your projection is the ultimate form of self-defense. But, keeping all these secrets creates a brand new problem. If you are entirely mysterious and always holding your cards close to your chest, the people in power above you, like your managers, your directors, they might start to view you as a wild card. Paranoia sets in.
They might think you're plotting against them.
Right. So how do you maintain this powerful mystery without triggering the insecurities of your boss?
Well, this is where Gracian's genius for navigating hierarchy shines. He provides a masterclass in managing the fragile egos of superiors in Aphorism the Seventh. The absolute, unbreakable rule is to avoid triumphing over your superiors.
Here's where it gets really interesting. He notes that hiding physical beauty under careless, baggy clothes is easy, but hiding your intellect is incredibly difficult.
Almost impossible for smart people.
Yeah, but still, he insists you have to try. Because princes want to be helped, not surpassed.
Consider the psychology of leadership for a second. A superior might willingly concede that you have better luck than they do, or perhaps even a better temper. But they will almost never concede that you possess superior judgment.
Right, because judgment is the currency of power.
Exactly. To publicly demonstrate that your judgment is better than your boss's is essentially an insult to a king.
He uses this beautiful analogy of the celestial bodies to explain this. He says the stars are the children of the sun, and they are incredibly bright, but they never attempt to compete with the sun's brightness.
The moment the sun rises, the stars have the good sense to disappear.
But what does this look like in practice? Like, is he telling you to sit in a meeting and intentionally play dumb?
No, it's not playing dumb. It's playing smart with ego. Suppose you are in a boardroom and your vice president is struggling to solve a complex logistical problem, and you know the exact solution.
I've been there.
We all have. Gracian advises that you shouldn't burst in and present it as your own brilliant, groundbreaking idea.
Don't take the glory.
Right. Instead, you frame it as a reminder. You present it as if you are simply recalling something the vice president had already mentioned in the past, but had momentarily forgotten.
Oh, that is surgically subtle. So you feed them the right answer, ensuring the company succeeds, and your job is secure. But you let them keep the credit and the ego boost.
Exactly. You are indispensable, but completely non-threatening.
Amazing.
And he extends this exact same ego management to your peer relationships, too. In aphorism CLII, he advises never to become close friends with someone who will completely overshadow you.
Because no one wants to be the permanent backup singer.
Exactly.
If you attach yourself to someone who demands to be the center of attention in every single room, any respect or networking you manage to get is just going to be their leftovers.
The ultimate danger in navigating superiors, however, involves the sharing of secrets.
Right.
Aphorism CCXXE7 carries a severe warning about this. Never share the secrets of your superiors. You might think they're honoring you with this profound gift by bringing you into their confidence, but they are usually just using you to relieve their own emotional burden.
He uses a brilliant metaphor here. He says you think you are sharing the fruit of intimacy, but you are only getting the peel.
Think about what happens when a powerful person tells you their darkest secret or their deepest insecurity.
It feels good at first.
It does. But you transform into a mirror that reflects their vulnerabilities back at them every single time they look at you. And what does a prince naturally want to do with a mirror that shows them a weakness they are desperately trying to ignore?
They shatter it. They get rid of the mirror. We see this exact dynamic when a boss vents to a subordinate about, say, the company's financial struggles or their own imposter syndrome.
Yes.
In the moment, the subordinate feels incredibly special and valued. But 3 months later, the boss starts feeling uncomfortable around that subordinate. Suddenly, that employee is getting transferred to another department or just managed out of the company entirely.
And if you successfully navigate all of this, if you keep your secrets, manage your boss's ego, and avoid the trap of intimacy with power, you will inevitably achieve success. But climbing the ladder guarantees you will put a target on your back.
Naturally.
Success breeds rivals and enemies.
And navigating a fragile boss is a delicate dance. But dealing with an enemy who is actively trying to sabotage you, that is a war. And Gracian's advice on handling this is pretty striking.
It is.
In Aphorism CXLV, he explicitly says, do not show your wounded finger.
If you do, everyone will attack it. Fate and human malice always instinctively target the weakest, most painful spot.
Let's contrast this with modern advice again. Because the prevailing wisdom today, heavily influenced by modern coaching and psychology, is that vulnerability is a superpower. We're told that sharing our struggles builds deep trust. But Gracian looks at that and says, absolutely not. Showing your wounded finger is like dropping blood in a shark tank. Why the stark difference?
Well, this raises an important question about context. We have to remember the context of his audience. Gracian wasn't writing for a therapy session or a well-adjusted family unit.
He was writing for a Shark Tank.
Exactly. He was preparing his readers for a hostile court filled with ambitious people competing for limited resources. In a zero-sum environment, exposing your deepest insecurities to people who do not have your best interests at heart isn't brave. It's reckless.
They'll just use it against you.
They will file that vulnerability away and use it as ammunition the very moment it benefits them.
So, if you can't show weakness to your enemies, what do you do with them? Do you just try to avoid them entirely?
No, you actually leverage them. Aphorism LXX-S.V states that a wise person gets more value from their enemies than a fool gets from their friends.
That initially sounds totally backwards, but he
Yeah.
explains that flattery is incredibly dangerous, right?
Yes. Your friends value their relationship with you, so they will often soften the truth or just tell you what you want to hear to keep the peace. Enemies have absolutely no such filter.
They don't care about your feelings.
Not at all. The malice of an enemy acts as a brutal, high-definition mirror. An enemy wants to hurt you, so they're going to aim directly for your truest, most accurate flaws. It hurts, but if you can detach your own ego from the sting of their criticism, you can use their attacks as a free diagnostic tool. They will audit your weaknesses for you, allowing you to correct your flaws and become virtually bulletproof.
And when it comes to actually defeating those rivals, he offers the most elegant solution in Aphorism CLX2. The most heroic revenge, he says, is simply your own success.
Getting down into the mud to trade insults or sabotage an enemy only degrades your own standing. It shows they have affected you.
He writes that every success you achieve is a knot in the noose of your rival's envy. And the psychology of envy is fascinating here.
It really is.
Because envy isn't just wanting what someone else has, it's the active pain caused by someone else's elevation. By simply thriving, by doing your job exceptionally well and rising above them, you are torturing them passively.
The better you do, the worse they feel.
Exactly. It is a total victory that requires zero malicious action on your part. All your energy just goes into your own growth.
Executing this kind of discipline, however, is immensely difficult. I mean, keeping the right secrets, soothing the egos above you, and weaponizing the criticism of the enemies around you. All of that requires one overarching skill: impeccable timing and infinite patience.
Which is why Aphorism L3 is essentially just two words of Latin, festina lente, make haste slowly.
Hurry is the defining failure of fools. Amateurs rush into a situation without understanding the hidden dynamics or the core of the issue. The wise wait. They allow situations to mature and reveal themselves.
He illustrates this perfectly in Aphorism CXX8 regarding the art of letting things be. He compares a chaotic, dramatic situation to a muddy pool of water.
A great visual.
Yeah, if you panic and try to clear the pool by frantically moving the water around with your hands, you are only going to stir up the dirt from the bottom and make the water significantly muddier. The only way to clear the pool is to just leave it alone.
Sometimes the most potent medicine is no medicine at all.
And the modern application for this is so clear. Just think about the physical reaction you get when you receive a deeply unfair, infuriating email from a colleague.
Oh, the worst.
Your heart rate spikes, your fight or flight response kicks in, and your immediate instinct is to fire back a defensive response to fix the narrative right then and there.
You want to defend yourself immediately.
Right, but sending that angry email and then maybe 3 more follow-ups to clarify your anger is just stirring the mud. You are creating more chaos. If you literally step away from the keyboard, sleep on it, and let the emotional water settle, the strategic solution is almost always painfully obvious the next morning.
That is precisely what Gracian means by self-mastery. To help maintain that even keel, he offers a brilliant psychological framing trick in Aphorism CCIV. He advises that you should approach easy tasks as if they're hard, and hard tasks as if they're easy.
Framing an easy task as hard makes total sense to me. It prevents overconfidence, right? Like, if you treat a routine presentation like it's high stakes, you won't get sloppy. But why treat a massive, intimidating project as if it's easy?
To prevent paralysis. When we perceive a task as monumental, our brains often flood with anxiety, which leads to procrastination or a sense of defeat before we even begin.
You just freeze up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By mentally shrinking the task, by telling yourself it's just a series of simple, manageable steps, you bypass that discouragement. It keeps you moving forward steadily. Ultimately, Gracian's entire philosophy isn't just about outsmarting other people in a dark corridor. It's about absolute internal mastery.
Right.
If you can conquer your own passions, your own ego, and your own impatience, no one else can ever use them against you.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? When we strip away the 17th century context and look at this text from Baltasar Gracian, what we are really seeing is a masterclass in reading the room.
Truly.
It's a profound exploration of managing your own ego just as carefully as you manage the egos of others. in order to protect your peace in an unpredictable world.
It serves as a stark reminder that having good intentions is completely insufficient on its own. You need an actual strategy to survive long enough in any system to do any good.
Yeah, the tools of society have changed. We use Slack and email instead of wax seals and couriers. But human nature, with its pride, its envy, and its relentless desire for status, remains completely unchanged since 1601.
We're exactly the same.
We are. Whether you are trying to navigate a bizarre corporate restructuring, dealing with a highly toxic social circle, or simply trying to protect your own mental energy from draining colleagues, Gracian reminds you that being a good person does not require you to be a naive person.
Well said.
In aphorism CCXE3, he sums up the perfect balance. You need the warmth of a dove, but the cunning of a snake. You can and should be kind, but you must keep your eyes wide open to the reality of human behavior.
Wise words.
And that leaves us with a final provocative thought from Gracian to mull over as you go about your week. In aphorism CXE4, he gives this blunt piece of advice. Make yourself mist. He warns that when someone no longer has a use for you, they inevitably grow cold. The welcome mat is only ever rolled out for the new arrival. The departing guest is ignored.
It's harsh.
It is harsh, but think deeply about your own life right now, your career trajectory, and your closest relationships. Are you currently the star shining a little too brightly right next to the boss's sun? Are you giving away all your best ideas up front, slowly turning into the squeezed orange that's about to be tossed from the golden tray?
It's a tough question to ask yourself.
It really is. And most importantly, if you find yourself constantly over-delivering and underappreciated, how can you strategically step back, let the muddy waters of your own life settle, and make yourself truly, desperately missed this week?